"You're not a priority anymore," my dad said when I asked why my graduation was skipped, while my brother got a $9,000 party. I didn't argue. I just smiled, left dinner early, and that night logged in, shut down the family card, reversed every transfer, and sent them a PDF, itemized. The silence didn't last long. By morning, they were screaming into voicemails. "My name is David. I'm 28 years old, and I learned early that being reliable meant being invisible." It started small. Lending Dad $50 for gas when I was 16, working my first job at the grocery store, covering Jason's textbook fees when he forgot his wallet, which happened every semester, paying the electric bill when Mom's hours got cut just once, just to help out. Except once became twice. Twice became monthly. Monthly became a pattern I couldn't see until I was standing in the middle of it, drowning. I was the backup plan, the emergency contact, the account they drained when vacation season rolled around, or when Jason needed a car repair, or when the roof leaked, or when any excuse at all presented itself. They never asked anymore. They just expected, and I gave because that's what I thought family meant. Jason was different. Jason was the star. The athlete with the bright smile and the easy charm, the son who made them proud at dinner parties, whose accomplishments they bragged about to neighbors. He played college baseball, barely graduated, bounced between sales jobs, but somehow remained their shining achievement. I worked in software development. Good money, stable career, promoted twice in 3 years. I bought a small house at 25. Paid off my car at 26. Built a savings account that should have felt secure. Should have, because every time I looked at that balance, I saw the invisible withdrawals. Not literal theft, but something close. The guilt trips that came with refusing. The cold shoulders at holiday dinners when I suggested they budget better. The sighs from Mom when I mentioned I had my own bills to consider. So I stopped mentioning it. I stopped refusing. I became what they needed me to be, a wallet that never closed. Last year, I finished my master's degree. 2 years of night classes while working full-time, papers written at midnight, exams taken on lunch breaks. It nearly broke me, but I finished. I graduated with honors. I told them about the ceremony 6 weeks in advance, sent a text to the family group chat with the date, time, and location. Mom responded with a thumbs up emoji. Dad didn't respond at all. Jason sent back a gif of someone clapping. The day came. I sat in that auditorium surrounded by families cheering, cameras flashing, flowers being handed out. I walked across that stage, shook hands with the dean, accepted my diploma. I looked into the crowd. My seat section was empty. I checked my phone after the ceremony. No missed calls, no texts, no explanations. I drove home alone, hung the diploma on my wall, ordered takeout, sat in silence. 3 days later, I saw the Facebook photos. Jason's engagement party, the one they forgot to mention, the one they attended instead. The album had 47 pictures, backyard decorations, a catered spread, a banner that read, "Congratulations, Jason and Jennifer." Dad at the grill, laughing. Mom holding champagne, radiant. The post had 63 comments, everyone celebrating, everyone happy. I wasn't in a single photo. I wasn't mentioned once. I wasn't invited. But I was the one who paid for the caterer. I recognized the logo on the serving trays. The company charged my card 2 days before my graduation. $700. They used my money to celebrate Jason while missing my moment entirely. I sat there staring at those photos for an hour, maybe longer. Something inside me shifted. Not rage, not even hurt. Something colder, something final. I thought that's what family did. I was wrong. 2 weeks passed, 2 weeks of silence from me, and they didn't notice. No calls asking if I was okay. No texts checking in. Nothing. The absence of my attention meant nothing to them because my presence never had. Then Mom called, not to apologize, not to explain. She said they wanted to have a family dinner at Rossini's, the Italian place downtown with the cloth napkins and the wine list that required a second mortgage. She said it would be nice to catch up. She said it like nothing had happened, like they hadn't chosen Jason's party over my graduation, like that choice didn't carve something permanent into my chest. I should have said no, I should have been busy. But some pathetic part of me hoped for an apology, an acknowledgement, something. So I went. Rossini's was crowded for a Thursday night. I arrived exactly on time and found them already seated at a table near the window. Dad scrolled through his phone. Mom studied the menu. Jason and Jennifer whispered to each other, her ring catching the light every time she moved her hand. I sat down. Nobody looked up. The server came. They ordered appetizers, entrees, wine, expensive choices, the kind of meal that runs up a bill fast. I ordered soup and water. Mom frowned at my choice but said nothing. Conversation flowed around me. Jason talked about wedding venues. Jennifer showed Mom photos on her phone. Dad mentioned a fishing trip he wanted to take. Normal family dinner talk, the kind that happens when everyone belongs. I didn't belong. I was furniture, something filling a chair. Halfway through the meal, I finally asked the question that had been burning in my throat for 2 weeks. Why didn't you come to my graduation? The table went quiet. Forks stopped moving. Jennifer looked uncomfortable. Jason glanced at Dad. Dad put down his wine glass. He looked at me with the kind of expression you give someone who asked a stupid question. Tired, irritated. We had Jason's engagement party that day. You knew that. I told you about my graduation 6 weeks in advance. You gave me a thumbs up. You said you'd be there. Mom jumped in, her voice taking on that smooth, placating tone she used when she wanted to end conflict quickly. David, you're making this a bigger deal than it needs to be. You graduated, that's wonderful. But Jason was celebrating a major life milestone. An engagement is special. You understand that, right? I worked for 2 years while holding down a full-time job. I graduated with honors. That's not special? Dad sighed. Actually sighed, like I was inconveniencing him by wanting acknowledgement. You're an adult. You don't need us holding your hand through every little achievement. Jason needed us there. He's starting a new chapter. Something in his tone made my jaw clench. That dismissiveness, that casual cruelty dressed up as practicality. So my graduation was a little achievement. I didn't say that. You just did. Jason cleared his throat, uncomfortable now. Jennifer stared at her plate. Mom reached for her wine. Dad leaned back in his chair, studying me with cold assessment. Then he said the words that sealed everything. Look, David, the truth is you're not a priority anymore. You're established. You have your career, your house. You're fine. Jason is building something. He needs support. You don't. That's just reality. The table went silent. Not a shocked silence. A confirming one. Mom didn't contradict him. Jason didn't defend me. Jennifer said nothing. You're not a priority anymore. 6 words. Delivered like a weather report. Casual, factual, final. I felt something snap inside me. Not break, snap. Clean, complete. I smiled. You're right, I said quietly. I am fine. I stood up, pulled 2 20s from my wallet and dropped them on the table. That should cover my soup. Good luck with the rest of the bill. Mom's eyes widened. David, sit down. Don't be dramatic. Enjoy your dinner. I walked out while Dad called after me, his voice edged with irritation now, not concern. I didn't look back. I got in my car, drove home through streets blurred with city lights, and parked in my driveway. Then I went inside, and I got to work. I sat at my kitchen table for a long time after I got home. The house was quiet, too quiet, the kind of silence that presses against your ears and forces you to hear your own thoughts. You're not a priority anymore. The words replayed in my head like a song I couldn't turn off. Each repetition carved deeper. Not because they were cruel, though they were, but because they were honest. Dad didn't say it to hurt me. He said it because that's what he believed. What they all believed. I wasn't a priority. Maybe I never had been. I thought about the years of wiring money, paying bills, covering emergencies that somehow only ever happened to them. The car repairs, the insurance premiums, the medical copays, the vacation deposits, the engagement party catering bill that charged my account without permission because Mom still had my card information from when I helped with groceries last year. I opened my laptop, pulled up my banking app, started scrolling through transactions. The numbers told a story I'd been refusing to read. 3 years of statements, hundreds of transfers, some small, 50 here, 100 there, others massive. 2,000 for Dad's truck transmission, 800 for Jason's security deposit when he moved apartments, 1,500 when Mom's hours got cut and they couldn't make mortgage, 4,000 to cover Jason's credit card debt so his score wouldn't tank before his wedding. I added it up, twice, then a third time because the number seemed impossible. $47,000. $47,000 over 3 years. Money I gave freely. Money they took without gratitude. Money that funded their lives while mine stayed small and quiet and invisible. The engagement party, the fishing trips, the new patio furniture on their deck, the cruise they took last winter, Jason's car, Jennifer's ring. All of it built on my silence, my compliance, my desperate need to be valued by people who saw me as a resource, not a son. I closed the laptop, sat in the dark, let the weight of it settle. They chose Jason's party over my graduation because I didn't matter enough to prioritize. They used my card without asking because they knew I wouldn't stop them. They dismissed my achievements because I achieved them without needing their validation, which meant I didn't need their attention. Except I did need it. I craved it, and that craving made me easy to exploit. I thought about calling, confronting them, demanding apologies, explanations, something. But I knew how that conversation would go. Mom would cry, Dad would get defensive, Jason would stay silent. They'd twist it around, make me the villain for being ungrateful, for keeping score, for not understanding that family helps family. And I'd cave. I always caved, not this time. I opened the laptop again, logged into my bank account, stared at the list of scheduled transfers, monthly payments I'd set up so long ago I forgot they were automatic. Dad's truck insurance, Mom's phone bill, Jason's gym membership, their streaming services, their utilities buffer, all of it running silently in the background of my life, draining me while I pretended it was normal. My hand hovered over the mouse. One click. That's all it would take. One click to cancel everything. One click to stop being their safety net. One click to become as invisible financially as I already was emotionally. I thought about Dad's face when he said those words, the casual dismissal, the complete lack of awareness that he was destroying something. I clicked. Then I clicked again, and again, and again, every scheduled payment, every automatic transfer, every saved card, every piece of financial access I'd given them over the years. Canceled, deleted, removed. The screen showed confirmation messages. Service ended. Payment stopped. Removal successful. I sat back. My heart pounded. My hands shook. But I didn't undo it. The next morning I woke up feeling strange. Lighter maybe, or emptier. I couldn't decide which. I made coffee, checked my email, went through my normal routine. Everything felt different though, like I'd stepped into a parallel version of my life where the rules changed overnight. My phone stayed silent, no calls, no texts. They hadn't noticed yet. I went to work, sat through meetings, wrote code, had lunch at my desk, normal Friday activities. But my mind kept drifting to what I'd done. What would happen when the bills came due? When the automatic payments failed? When they realized the money stopped flowing? Around 2 in the afternoon, my phone buzzed. Mom. I stared at her name on the screen. Let it ring 4 times before answering. Hey, Mom. David, honey, something weird happened with the phone bill. It said the payment was declined. Can you check your account? Maybe your card expired or something. Her voice was casual, unconcerned, like this was a minor technical glitch I'd fix immediately. Oh, I canceled that payment. Silence, then a confused laugh. What do you mean you canceled it? I mean I removed the automatic payment from my account. You'll need to pay it yourself now. More silence. Longer this time. David, what's going on? Are you still upset about dinner? Still upset. Like my hurt had an expiration date. Like a few days was enough time to get over being told I wasn't a priority. I'm not upset. I'm just done paying for things that aren't mine. Don't be ridiculous. We're family. You help out. That's what we do. No, Mom, that's what I do. You take. There's a difference. Her tone shifted. Less confusion, more edge. Excuse me? We've never asked you for anything you couldn't afford. You have plenty of money, David. We're just trying to keep our heads above water here, and you want to throw a tantrum over a phone bill? $47,000. What? That's how much I've given you over the last 3 years. $47,000, not counting the engagement party you charged to my card without asking. That was another 700. Silence again, but different this time. The kind of silence that means someone's scrambling for words. We didn't. That's not. David, you're exaggerating. It wasn't that much. I have the statements. I added it up twice. Want me to send you a copy? You're being petty. You're keeping score like some kind of accountant instead of remembering that we're your parents. We raised you. We fed you. We put a roof over your head for 18 years. And I've paid you back for those 18 years 10 times over. We're even. More than even. David Alexander Mitchell, you stop this right now. Call the bank and fix the payment. We have enough stress without you acting like a child. My jaw clenched. That voice. That tone. The one she used when I was 8 and refused to clean my room. The one that assumed I'd comply because I always complied. No. What did you just say to me? I said no. Pay your own phone bill, Mom. Pay your own everything. I'm done. I hung up. My hands shook. My heart raced. I'd never hung up on my mother before. Never refused her directly. Never drawn a line. It felt terrifying. It felt right. 3 minutes later, Dad called. I didn't answer. He called again. Then Jason. Then Mom again. I silenced my phone and got back to work. They showed up at my house Saturday morning. I was drinking coffee on my back patio when I heard the car doors slam in my driveway. Heard Dad's heavy footsteps on the walkway. Heard Mom's voice calling my name before they even reached the door. I didn't move. Just sat there with my coffee, watching birds at the feeder, waiting. The doorbell rang, then knocking. Then more knocking. David, open this door right now. Dad's voice, angry, entitled. I took another sip of coffee. Let them knock. Let them wait. Let them feel what it's like to be ignored. Finally, I walked through the house and opened the door. Dad stood there red-faced, Mom beside him looking flustered. Jason's car was parked behind theirs, him and Jennifer sitting inside like they didn't want to be part of this, but came anyway. We need to talk, Dad said, already pushing past me into the house. Good morning to you too. Mom followed him in, her expression tight. They walked into my living room like they owned it, like they had any right to barge into my space and demand explanations. Dad turned on me, his arms crossed. What the hell do you think you're doing? Drinking coffee. You want some? Don't be cute. You canceled all the payments. The insurance payment bounced. The utility company is threatening shutoff. Your mother's phone is suspended. You're sabotaging us. I'm not sabotaging anything. I'm just not paying for your lives anymore. We're your family. You told me I wasn't a priority. Remember? At dinner? You said I was established and fine and didn't need support. So I took your advice. I'm being established and fine on my own. Mom stepped forward, her voice softer now. The good cop routine. David, sweetie, your father didn't mean it like that. You know how he gets. He was stressed about the wedding expenses, and he said something harsh. But that doesn't mean you punish all of us. I'm not punishing anyone. I'm just not giving you money anymore. You're adults. You can handle your own bills. Dad's face darkened further. You entitled little bastard. We gave you everything growing up. Everything. And this is how you repay us? By cutting us off the second we say something you don't like? You didn't give me everything. You gave Jason everything. I was the backup plan. The ATM. The one who didn't matter enough to show up for. Oh, here we go with the graduation again. Get over it, David. You're 28 years old. You don't need mommy and daddy holding your hand. You're right, I don't. And you don't need me funding your lifestyle. Funding our lifestyle. We asked you for help occasionally. That's what families do. Occasionally? Dad, I've given you $47,000 in 3 years. That's not occasional. That's systematic. His expression flickered, just for a second, like the number surprised him. But he recovered quickly. That's an exaggeration. It's not. I have every transaction documented. Every wire transfer. Every Venmo. Every bill I paid that wasn't mine. You want to see the spreadsheet? Mom's face went pale. She looked at Dad. Some silent communication passed between them. Even if that number is accurate, which I doubt, you could afford it. You make good money. We were struggling. Were you? Because you took a cruise last winter. You bought patio furniture. You paid for a $700 catering bill for Jason's party while missing my graduation. That's different. How? Because Jason needed us there. His engagement is a once-in-a-lifetime event. And my graduation wasn't. Dad threw up his hands, exasperated. Fine. You want an apology? I'm sorry. There, happy? Now call the bank and fix the payments. I stared at him. At the insincerity, at the transactional nature of his apology. Say the words, get the money back. That's all this was to him. No. David, stop being childish. I'm not being childish. I'm being clear. I'm not your ATM anymore. I'm not your backup plan. I'm not your safety net. Figure it out yourselves. Mom's eyes filled with tears. Real or performed, I couldn't tell anymore. How can you do this to us? We're your parents. And I'm your son, not your bank. There's a difference. Dad stepped closer, his voice dropping to something dangerous. You fix this, or you're out of this family. You understand me? You do this, you're done. No holidays, no weddings, no contact. You'll be nothing to us. The threat hung in the air. The ultimatum. I should have felt scared, heartbroken, desperate to backtrack. Instead, I felt calm. Okay, I said quietly. Dad blinked. Okay, what? I'm okay with that. If the price of admission to this family is bankrolling all of you while being treated like I don't matter, then I don't want in. I walked to the door, opened it. Get out of my house, Mom gasped. Dad stared at me like I'd grown a second head. You don't mean that, Mom whispered. I really do. Get out. They left, slowly, reluctantly. Shooting looks back at me like I might change my mind. I closed the door behind them, locked it, stood there in the silence of my own home, and felt free for the first time in years. They didn't believe me. That much became clear over the next few days. The calls continued, the texts piled up, but the tone shifted from angry to desperate to manipulative. Jason sent a long message about how I was destroying the family. How Mom cried herself to sleep, how Dad's blood pressure was through the roof, how the wedding might have to be postponed because they couldn't afford it now. Jennifer sent one too, about how disappointed she was in me, how families should support each other, how I was being selfish during their special time. Cousins I hadn't heard from in years suddenly appeared in my DMs with opinions about my choices. The narrative was simple. David snapped over nothing and abandoned his struggling family out of spite. Nobody asked my side. Nobody questioned why I'd been paying for everything in the first place. Nobody wondered if maybe, possibly, I had a point. I let them talk. Let them spin their version. Let them paint me as the villain, because I was building something they couldn't spin. I spent Sunday organizing every financial document from the past 3 years. Bank statements, transaction histories, Venmo receipts, text messages asking for money, emails confirming wire transfers. I created a spreadsheet, dated every transaction, categorized them, added notes where I remembered the specific request. May 2022, $100, Dad's truck transmission, just this once, we'll pay you back. June 2022, $800, Jason's security deposit, he's broke until his commission check. July 2022, $350, Mom's dental work, insurance didn't cover it. August 2022, $1,500, mortgage when Mom's hours were cut, we're so grateful. On, month after month, year after year, a relentless pattern of asking, receiving, never repaying. The pay-you-back promises appeared in 14 separate text exchanges. Not once did repayment actually happen. I highlighted those in yellow. I found the engagement party catering charge, $700, no permission asked, just charged to my card because Mom had the number saved from helping with groceries. I highlighted that in red. I found the Facebook photos from that same day. Jason and Jennifer smiling, Dad at the grill, Mom holding champagne. The timestamp, the exact time I was walking across the stage at my graduation, looking for them in an empty seat section. I added those photos to the document. I added screenshots of the conversation where I told them about my graduation 6 weeks in advance. Mom's thumbs up emoji, Dad's silence, Jason's clapping gif. I added a screenshot of the group text where they discussed Jason's engagement party. The date, the time, the same day as my graduation, no mention of the conflict. No acknowledgement that they were choosing. I compiled it all into a single PDF, 37 pages, professional, clinical, undeniable. The title page read, Financial Contribution. Summary, David Mitchell to Mitchell Family, 2022-2025. Subtitle, A 3-year record. I saved it, backed it up, sent a copy to my personal email. Then I waited. Monday evening, Jason called. I didn't answer. He left a voicemail. Dude, seriously, you need to talk to Mom and Dad. They're losing it. The mortgage payment is due and they don't have enough. You really want them to lose the house over your hurt feelings? Just think about that. I listened to the voicemail twice. Your hurt feelings. That's what this was to them. Feelings, emotions, temporary inconvenience. Not theft, not exploitation. Not years of systematic financial abuse dressed up as family obligation. Hurt feelings. I opened my email, attached the PDF, added Mom, Dad, and Jason to the recipient list. Subject line, since you asked for documentation. Body text, this is why I'm done. No negotiation, no discussion. Don't contact me again. My finger hovered over send. One click. That's all it took. One click to burn the bridge completely. One click to make my position undeniable. I thought about Dad's face when he called me entitled. Mom's tears that may or may not have been real. Jason's assumption that I'd cave because I always caved. I clicked send. The whoosh sound of the email leaving felt like an ending, or maybe a beginning. The email delivered at 6:47 p.m. By 7:15 p.m., my phone started vibrating continuously. I turned it face down on the counter and made dinner. Pasta. Simple. The kind of meal you make when you want your hands busy while your mind processes what you've done. I didn't check the messages, didn't listen to the voicemails, didn't read the texts that made my phone buzz against the granite like an angry wasp. I ate slowly, washed my dishes, sat on my couch with a book I didn't actually read. Around 9 p.m., curiosity won. I picked up my phone. 43 missed calls, 68 text messages, 12 voicemails. I started with the text. Mom, how could you do this to us? How could you turn our love into a transaction? Dad, you included private family matters in a legal document. This is betrayal. Jason, you're actually insane, like genuinely unhinged. Get help. Jennifer, you've shown your true colors. Don't bother coming to the wedding. Cousin Amy, I can't believe you'd air family business like this. So toxic. Uncle Ron, your father called me in tears. You should be ashamed. On and on. A chorus of outrage. But not one person said I was wrong about the numbers. Not one person disputed the facts. They were just angry I made them visible. The voicemails were worse. Mom crying. Actual sobbing. You're killing your father with this stress. If something happens to him, it's on you. Dad shouting. You want to play hardball? Fine. You're written out of the will. Every penny goes to Jason. See how you like being cut off. Jason, cold and measured. You know what the family's saying, right? That you had a breakdown, that you're unstable. Maybe that's true. Maybe you need to see someone. I listened to all of them, let each word hit, felt the weight of their anger and their panic and their denial. Then I deleted every single one. Tuesday morning brought something different, an email from Jason. Subject line, final offer. I opened it against my better judgment. David, let's be real here. You've made your point. We get it. You're upset. But this scorched earth thing isn't helping anyone. Mom and Dad are freaking out about money. The wedding's in jeopardy. You've got us all stressed. So here's what I'm thinking. You put the payments back. We all sit down like adults and hash this out. Maybe we set up a repayment plan or something. Maybe we agree on boundaries. Whatever you need to feel better about this. But you gotta meet us halfway. You can't just nuke the family and expect everyone to be cool with it. That's not how this works. Think about it. You really want to be the guy who destroyed everything over some money? Is that your legacy? Hit me back. Let's fix this. I read it 3 times. The audacity was breathtaking. The complete lack of accountability. The assumption that I should meet them halfway when they'd never met me a quarter of the way. The framing of my boundary as destruction, my refusal as violence. I didn't respond. Wednesday afternoon, something changed. Dad called from an unknown number. I answered without thinking. What? The bank called. The mortgage payment bounced. We need $1,500 by Friday, or we start accruing late fees and penalties. His voice wasn't angry anymore. It was flat, tired, real. Okay, I said. Okay? That's it? Just okay? What do you want me to say, Dad? I want you to fix this. I want you to be reasonable. I am being reasonable. I'm not responsible for your mortgage. You are. Figure it out. With what money? Your mother's hours are still cut. My Social Security doesn't cover everything. We counted on your help. You counted on my silence. Different thing. David, please, I'm asking you, man to man, help us. You told me I wasn't a priority. You missed my graduation for Jason's party. You've taken $47,000 from me and never once said thank you. Why would I help you now? Because we're family. No, Dad, we're related. Family shows up. Family cares. Family doesn't use you until you're empty and then call you entitled when you stop giving. Silence on the line. So that's it? You're just done? I'm done being your ATM. If you want a relationship, a real one, where I'm actually a priority, where my accomplishments matter, where I'm not just the emergency fund, then maybe we can talk, but not until then. You're going to regret this. Maybe, but I don't think so. I hung up. Friday came. The mortgage didn't get paid. I knew because Jason posted a vague status on Facebook about family betrayal and hardship and finding out who really cares. The comments section filled with sympathy, with outrage on his behalf, with people I'd never met deciding I was the villain. I didn't respond, didn't defend myself, didn't engage. Let them think what they wanted. Let them rally around Jason and Mom and Dad. Let them create their narrative. I had the receipts, I had the truth, I had my peace, and that was enough. 3 months later, I changed my phone number. Not out of anger, not even to avoid them, but because every time that phone rang, I tensed. Every notification made my stomach drop. I was carrying their stress in my body even after cutting them off financially. So I changed it, kept 5 people in my contacts. My boss, 2 friends from work, my accountant, my doctor's office. Started fresh. The silence that followed was strange at first. No emergency calls, no guilt trip texts, no voicemails explaining why this month was especially hard and couldn't I just help one more time. Just silence. Clean. Complete. I started sleeping better. Woke up without that immediate anxiety about what fresh crisis awaited in my inbox. Drank my coffee slowly, went to work, came home, lived a life that was entirely my own. My savings account grew. Turns out when you're not funding 3 other adults, money accumulates. I paid off my car early, put extra toward my mortgage, started investing properly instead of keeping a bloated emergency fund for their emergencies. I took a vacation in September. Just me. A cabin in the mountains. No cell service. No internet. Just hiking and reading and silence. It was the first vacation I'd taken in 5 years where I didn't check my phone every hour to make sure nobody needed money. I thought about them sometimes, wondered if they figured it out. If Dad got a part-time job, if Mom's hours came back, if Jason had to postpone the wedding or downsize his plans. I wondered if they ever understood why I left. Probably not. People like that, people who see relationships as transactions and children as resources, don't usually develop self-awareness. They just find new sources, new people to drain, new narratives to justify their behavior. I hoped Jason's wife knew what she was marrying into. In November, I got a letter. Actual, physical mail. No return address. But I recognized Mom's handwriting. I almost threw it away unopened. Stood there by the mailbox, holding it, debating. I opened it. One page. Handwritten. David, I don't know if you'll read this. I don't know if you even check this address anymore. But I needed to try. Your father is sick, not emergency sick, just old man sick. His heart, his blood pressure. The doctor says stress isn't helping. I'm not asking for money. I know that door's closed. I'm just asking you to think about what happens if something bad happens. If he dies, if you never speak to him again, can you live with that? Can I? I miss you, even if you don't believe it. Even if I failed you, I miss my son. Mom. I read it twice. Felt that familiar tug, that guilt, that voice whispering that maybe I was too harsh, too cold, too unforgiving. Then I remembered the graduation, the empty seats, the $47,000, the casual dismissal. You're not a priority anymore. I put the letter in a drawer, didn't respond, didn't call, just closed the drawer and went back to my life. December came, the first holiday season completely alone. No family dinner invitations, no guilt-laden calls about tradition, no expectations. I volunteered at a soup kitchen on Christmas, served meals to people who had nothing, listened to their stories, felt useful in a way I never felt when I was funding my family's lifestyle. On New Year's Eve, I sat on my back patio with a beer and watched fireworks in the distance. Thought about the year, about what I'd lost, about what I'd gained. I lost a family that never valued me. I gained myself back. Fair trade. My phone, the new one with the new number, buzzed with a text. My friend Jake from work. Happy New Year, man. Still up for that hiking trip in March? I smiled, typed back. Absolutely. Looking forward to it. And I was. Looking forward. Not backward. Not dwelling. Not trapped. Just free. They taught me what I didn't want to be, who I didn't want to become. They showed me that blood doesn't guarantee love, and family isn't defined by who you're related to. Family is who shows up, who celebrates you, who sees you as a priority. I'd find that. Maybe I already had. In small ways, in friendships, in chosen connections. But I'd never find it with them, and I was okay with that now. I raised my beer to the fireworks, to the year ahead, to the peace that comes from finally putting yourself first. To priorities, I said to the empty night. The fireworks burst overhead, beautiful, bright, free, just like me.